What's up and roll tide? Welcome in Catfish Courtside here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. I'm Chad Anderson. Thanks for being here. Alabama, a nice win last night over the Vanderbilt Commodores. Crimson Tide back on the home court coming off the huge win on Saturday against Kentucky. And Alabama pretty much controlled everything from start to finish. We're going to break down the game. We're going to look at the most updated bracketology, see where the Tide has kind of crept around a little bit on the 1 seed line or the 2 seed line, see who they're matched up against. And let's get this thing going. Alabama improves again in the SEC, and Bama, nice little schedule coming up. We're going to look into it. All right, welcome in. Alabama, big win over the Vanderbilt Commodores last night, 103-87. Crimson Tide goes to 16-3 overall. They're 5-1 now in the SEC. This Vanderbilt team, not bad though, 15-4, 3-3 in the conference. And remember, they're coming off of a big win, a big high. They beat the Tennessee Vols in Memorial Gymnasium back last Saturday afternoon. So it's not like Vanderbilt's just kind of beaten the bottom half of the conference or, won some games, like that they should have. And so their record's kind of inflated. This is a pretty decent Vanderbilt team. So again, they came in, they hung around. They actually outshot Alabama in the second half from the 3-point line. They outscored Alabama by 1 point in the second half. But the Crimson Tide, of course, had that huge first half and held on the rest of the way with a 103-87 victory. Yeah, just watching this team, the way that they're now playing together, passing the ball, sharing the ball, they kind of know where everybody is on the floor. And that was something that we talked about early in the season, back in November on this channel, is that the Crimson Tide had all this talent, but they hadn't put it together. They didn't have the chemistry. They hadn't really gelled, and they still haven't to the maximum capacity. But this team now is so much better than what we saw Thanksgiving week, which is almost 2 months ago out in Las Vegas, and just how the awareness, the floor awareness, the mentality, the physicality, the length, the way it, like I said, that they share the basketball, they rely on each other. You can tell how much different this team is today versus 2 months ago. And if they keep improving with all the talent they have, I can't wait for March and April. This is going to be insane watching this run, and hopefully it's a long run and they don't have some sort of crazy upset in the first couple of rounds. That would be a disaster. But just kind of looking at some of the big numbers for tonight, Sears had 21. He's now had 20 points or more in 6 of his last 7 games, but he wasn't even the top scorer. You actually had 2 guys, both off the bench, who outscored Mark Sears tonight. One, this was the biggest surprise, Mo Diabate, career night. 22 points, 10 rebounds, give him the double-double, 6 of 9 from the charity stripe, played 23 minutes yesterday evening. Aiden Holloway, 22 points, shot lights out, 4 of 6 from beyond the arc, 2 of 3 from the line, 8 of 11 on field goals overall. Nice night from him. The Auburn transfer has paid huge dividends in Nate Oates' offense. It's been remarkable watching him and what he's been able to do and how comfortable he feels now playing in the crimson and the white. From the starter side, and by the way, lots of minutes. 9 guys rotated through. Darian Reed still out for the Crimson Tide. I kind of figured he would be out last night. Probably my assumption is going to be out versus LSU as well. LSU, bottom half of the conference. You're at home. Not that you overlook games because that's how you lose, but still you're kind of playing based on your personnel and guys that you have that can back him up. And is it worth risking him? Then you have Georgia, at Mississippi State and then Georgia. So you got one more game before at State, and hopefully he can get back on the floor. We'll see how that pans out. Jaron Stevenson, 10 points tonight. Grant Nelson had 10, almost called him Grant Hill. He had 10 points tonight. Not quite the 25-point performance we saw against Kentucky. But again, that's the thing with this team is they constantly just next man up, next person steps in. It's just a revolving door with who's going to be the guy tonight. And last night, you had 3. You had Sears, you had Diabate, you had Holloway, and then Stevenson and Nelson. each come in with 10 points. Alabama tied their season high as a team last night. And talking about defense, they had 9 blocks on the evening, turned it over 11 times. Vanderbilt ended up giving the ball away 10 times. Shooting wise, Bama was insane. 56% from the field, 36% from beyond the arc. Vanderbilt, 38% or 39% from the field, 42%. They had a great second half when it came down to 3-pointers. Bama didn't shoot it from the free throw line as well as they did against Kentucky, 23 of 34. Vanderbilt, though, 14 of 18 from the charity stripe, 78% for them. Alabama out rebounds them. One thing was, this kind of goes hand in hand, though. Alabama out-rebounded the Doors 44-39. Bama is one of the top offensive rebounding teams in the nation. They only had 9 last night. However, when you shoot 56% from the field, how many opportunities are you really getting? So didn't crash the offensive glass, I guess, as much. But again, what a night shooting. So not as many opportunities. Points in the paint, that was all Alabama. I kind of knew this was coming. I've got some Vanderbilt friends, of course, living in the Nashville area, and they were talking about the game. They were excited about it, but at the same time, they said, if you're physical, if you have length, I said, well, guess what? Alabama has both of those. They knew they were in for a long night because the Tide length was obviously a presence, a lot of blocks, a lot of steals down low, just rebounds in general, and kind of discouraging Vanderbilt from driving into the paint. They just couldn't get anything going. Like in the second half, had it not been for their flurry of threes that they had and a couple of runs that they went on, this game would have been really out of hand in a hurry. And it was still a 16-point deficit. So overall, good night for the Crimson Tide. Just one of those like, hey, not a huge opponent, not a big name, but they did just beat Tennessee. You just still want to take care of business, play to a standard. And that's what Alabama did, and they move on. All right, so LSU is up next. That's on Saturday night, 7:30, not ESPN, SEC Network, sorry. And then next Tuesday, next Wednesday, a week from today, Crimson Tide goes on the road. Big one at Mississippi State, neighboring school, rivalry game. State's not a bad team. They've had a couple of tough ones. They lost to Kentucky at home. They did beat Ole Miss. They went to Tennessee last night, got beat pretty easily, got beat at Auburn pretty easily earlier in the year. But going on the road, 8 o'clock tip, that's one to watch before Bama hosts Georgia, goes to Arkansas and Texas, and then the gauntlet begins. We've been talking about that stretch beginning February 15th. It is just going to be a brutal run for the Crimson Tide. So win the games you're supposed to, keep this thing going, and just again pile up the wins as much as you can because it's going to be really, really difficult as we go down the stretch. Taking a look at bracketology, though, Crimson Tide, they bump up to the 1 seed line, and not only do they go to the 1 line, but they now have moved and positioned themselves into the number 3 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. They have leapfrogged Iowa State. So Auburn's number 1 overall. Duke is number 2. They get the second 1 seed. Bama's number 3. Right now, they have Bama in the Midwest bracket, which feeds into Indianapolis for the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8. Bama in this projection would go to Lexington for the first round and play Omaha with Texas Tech and St. Mary's as the 8-9 game. The other teams in that bracket of note would be Memphis, Illinois, Louisville, Marquette, Gonzaga, Oklahoma, and Kansas. So Crimson Tide moving up to the 1 line, and that would be Nate Oates. It would be the second time, right? Second time that Bama, his Bama team has been on the 1 seed. So, again, a lot of basketball left, but the SEC so loaded, they're going to take some bumps and bruises along the way. But for now, back up on that 1 line. So, again, nice win, comfortable win. Nothing dramatic about it, and that's what you like to see on these Tuesday night contests, especially against teams, again, lower half of the SEC or middle of the SEC, as you kind of make the charge to try and win the conference. Nate Oates looking for his 3rd SEC regular season title, and then he'll be lobbying, of course, for his 3rd SEC tournament crown as well. All right, that'll really do it for us, but before we go, let's talk a little bit about this right here. So We've talked about it before. 0 down payment programs. We've been helping so many people just save a lot of money. They think they have to have 5%, 10%, 20% down. It's fine if you do, if you want to get into a home, but you actually don't have to. If you scan that QR code, go to the website, put in your name, your email. You can download a free home buyer guide right there online. You can visit the website, chadwickanderson.com. We've also had HELOC Express rollout. You can apply today, have money in your bank account 5 days later. It is really that simple. It is really that quick. Would love to help you out. If you need to, want to chat about it, look at your situation, would love to help. Also, good friends at newlifeart.com. Amazing. I've got so many Daniel Moores. I just moved a few months ago, but these over here, the other half of my studio, it is jam-packed with boxes filled with Daniel Moore prints. These things are amazing. They look so good on the wall. And so make sure you go use promo code Bama Tailgate, newlifeart.com. Those guys are fantastic. They got so many good things out there. Yeah, again, just it's classic. You got to have them for your Bama room. And go find the put away, the Petway that they did years ago that he did when Petway beat Florida at the buzzer. And I'm sure you're going to see some more Bama basketball stuff coming out in future years, maybe in future weeks or months, depending on how this team does. And then, of course, the channel brought to you by Pearl River Resort, our good friends over there. The golf, the casino, the spa, the table games, the Timeout Sports Lounge, the slots, you name it, they've got it. Couple of casinos, couple of golf courses, food, buffet, restaurants, they've got it. And you still got time. Now, Bama keeps winning like this, their odds for winning the national title are going to keep going down, meaning that you're not going to get paid as much if you bet on them. Get over there, throw some coin down, Bama to win the Natty. If you want, hedge it, say Bama to make the Final Four. But get over there, Timeout Sports Lounge. Check out our good friends over at Pearl River Resort. All right, that'll do it. Appreciate you guys hanging out here on the channel. Bama winners 103-87 over Vanderbilt. And we will catch you on the next Catfish Courtside coming up later in the week. Bama and LSU is on deck. Thanks for being here. Roll Tide.